Hey guys, this video is a part of a longer and a more elaborate video about the express entry process where I detail all the way from the time you decide to the time you land and settle. You might want to go ahead and see that video first. You can click on this link right now to go to that video and have a look at the entire express entry process, which I have shared in as much detail as possible. If you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, I will truly appreciate it. And let's go ahead and watch this video. Let us now zoom in a little bit and look at the decision making process. The decision making process is either about you deciding whether you want to go to Canada and Canada deciding whether it wants to allow you to be a permanent resident. The first component in the decision making process is the express entry eligibility test. Let us go ahead and zoom in and see what the express entry eligibility test looks like. Here I am on Google. Let me type express entry eligibility. The first link I get shows me the express entry eligibility test. Let us zoom in into the Federal Skilled Worker Program. There are other programs as well. Let us focus on the Federal Skilled Worker Program, which is the most common program you will be using. Now I am on the Federal Skilled Worker Program page, which is also called as Express Entry. And it tells me that Express Entry evaluates you on multiple selection factors like the skilled work experience, language, ability, education, and so on. It says right here that you need a pass mark of 67 points to be a part of the express entry process. Let's go ahead and see what those 67 points are. And it says that the 67 points are based on your age, education, work experience, job offer, English, and your adaptability to the new country. These are the 6 selection factors on which you have to score a minimum of 67 points in order to qualify for the program. These points are different from your CRS score system, and this is just a pass mark. This is not a selection mark. This is the minimum pass mark you need to get in order to be part of the express entry. The 67 points are contributed from multiple factors like language skills, education points, work experience, age, arranged employment, and your adaptability to the new country. We will zoom into this in a later video in much detail. We look at all the pieces that go into it. You can also explore by yourself to see whether you get the minimum of 67 points. The instructions are very clear and very simple right here on this website. The link is available in the description. Now that you have checked your express entry eligibility and you know for sure that you have scored more than 67 points, you can go ahead and check your profile on the CRS Calculator. The CRS Calculator is an utility on the express entry website which lets you calculate your comprehensive ranking system score, or the CRS score. The comprehensive ranking system score, as the name suggests, is a ranking score which helps Canada rank you in relative to everybody else in the express entry pool. The express entry pool, like I said, is the place where candidates like you are sitting or waiting for Canada to invite to apply for the permanent residence. The CRS calculator is the tool that lets you calculate your CRS score. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. I am at Google right now, and the keywords which I want to use to search for this is CRS calculator for express entry. The first result it shows is the CRS tool, which is there on the CIC website, which is the government website for Canada. And this is the comprehensive ranking system tool. And it lets you know that the ranking system uses these following factors to evaluate you against the people available in the pool. That is skills, education, language ability, work experience, and other factors. You can go ahead and add your details to this form and see where you stand and find out your CRS score. The link is in the description. And boom, I have my score right here. My score tells me how I stand in the ranking system of the express entry pool. We will explore how to use the CRS score system or the CRS tool in a following video. In order to view that video, please subscribe to the channel so that you will get an update when I post that video. It says my score is 545 and there's no way I could have scored that. But whatever values I put in into the form, and this is what the result is. I just put in some values so that you can get an understanding of what the score looks like. And like I said, the range of CRS scores is usually from 300 to 1200 points. The big question you might have in your mind is, okay, I know my CRS score right now, but am I actually going to get an invitation to apply? In order to find that, you need to look at the CRS draws. Like I said, let me open a new tab, go to Google, and I'm searching for the CRS draw Canada. And the first link I see is the express entry rounds of invitation. Let me click on that. This is the page in which Canada posts a bi-monthly update on its draws, and it also shows this distribution of candidates available in the pool and the minimum score that it invited to be a part of the express entry process and become a permanent resident of Canada. Let's look at the latest draw. The latest draw happened on November 13th, and it says 3,600 candidates were invited, and the lowest ranking cutoff for a candidate was 472. Let us see what my score was. My score was 545. The lowest ranking score in this draw was 472. Had I placed my application in the pool, I would have got an invitation to apply on November 13th or by November 14th. This is when your application process begins. I will drill into the rounds of invitation and how to interpret this in a subsequent video, but you can see the distribution of scores available in the pool right now, and I can see that between 601 and 1200 there are about 757 people in the pool, and so on. The links for the CRS tool and the recent draw pages is available in the description. Now you know your CRS score and you know whether you're eligible. The next decision factor is your personal finance status. Personal finance status is an often overlooked topic. I would break the personal finance status into three components. The first is the proof of funds requirement. You need to show a certain sum of money as a part of your settlement funds in order to immigrate to Canada, and this is a part of the application process. Many candidates often ignore this step, and eventually they find that they are not eligible because they do not have sufficient funds, or the documents that they have submitted as a part of the settlement funds is not appropriate or not acceptable to Canada. We will drill into the proof of funds requirement in a subsequent video. The next is the application cost itself, and you must have enough money in order to submit your application. The last finance aspect is the attempt cost. The attempt cost is a hidden cost which is not very explicit, but every time you go for an IELTS exam or apply for the ECA or do any of the running around you need to do, maybe you need to visit a different state in a different country in order to get your mark sheet transcripts, and that may involve flight costs, hotel costs, and so on. It could get quite expensive, and it's often comparable to the application cost itself. The next factor which you want to consider is the other factors. There are some personal questions you might want to ask yourself, like who will take care of your parents when you immigrate abroad, or would your kids be able to survive in a cold country or be able to adapt to the new education system. Also, whether you're prepared for the new kind of lifestyle and the new kind of people and the new kind of limitations you will find in a new country, like not having access to the kind of food you eat or the kind of grocery you buy, and so on. These are questions you need to ask yourself, and it is something which you need to sleep over before you jump into the process. The next factor that is involved in a decision is whether your job is in demand. Keep in mind that Canada only invites you to be a part of the express entry process to apply for permanent residence only if your skills and your job is in demand in the country. There is no other reason why it will invite you to be a permanent resident in Canada. The only other way other than having an in-demand job is if you're the spouse of a permanent resident or a Canadian, or if you're willing to invest in the country. But most of us go through our jobs, and you need to check whether your job is in demand through the NOC code. Some of the jobs which may not be in demand is, for example, you might be a government official who's working in a government office in a clerical role, and the skills that you have might not be applicable to Canada. Another job which might not be in demand, which I can think of, is, let's say you're an actor or you're in the acting profession, then maybe that is a skill which Canada does not want, in which case you might decide against applying for the express entry process. The next is criminal history. Probably this does not apply to all of us, but keep in mind that any immigration process completely vets your past criminal history. Even if it's something as simple as shoplifting or anything that you might have done in the past can very much impact your application. This is the reality, and let us accept it, and in case you have criminal history, you might want to think twice before applying for the process. The last decision factor is having a passport. This is a very simple thing, but many of us often start off the process without having a valid passport. Either we don't have a passport, or the passport is expired, or it's not a valid passport, and so on. What happens is when you get your invitation to apply and you try to apply and you don't have your passport in hand, the application will not get accepted and you will lose your invitation. And if your birthday passes, you might actually lose the opportunity to be a part of the express entry process or immigrate to Canada. Passport is something which is overlooked, and even if the passport is expiring, let's say during the stamping window, then your stamping will get delayed or your application may actually be revoked and you might lose the whole process and you need to start again. So guys, make sure that you have your passport in hand before you start the express entry process, or you will at least know for sure that you will have your passport in hand before you get the holy invite. Hey folks, thank you for watching this video, and like I said, this video is a part of a longer and a more elaborate video. It takes a lot of time to make these kind of videos. I will appreciate it if you could like this video, subscribe to this channel, and if you have any thoughts regarding the express entry process or if you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments. I reply to every single comment that I see in my videos. Thank you very much. These kind of videos take a lot of time. If you can show your appreciation, that would be great. Thank you and bye bye.